The captivating narrative of Nehemiah unfolds in the pages of the Old Testament, a testament to faith, leadership, and determination. Nehemiah, a devout Jew serving as the cupbearer to King Artaxerxes in the Persian capital of Shushan, embarks on a transformative journey that shapes not only his destiny but also the fate of his beloved homeland, Jerusalem. In the grand court of King Artaxerxes, a place adorned with opulence and draped in regality, Nehemiah stood as a trusted cupbearer. His role was not just ceremonial, it held a profound responsibility. One day, a message arrived from a faraway land, whispering tales of despair and broken dreams. Jerusalem, the city of his ancestors, lay in ruins. As Nehemiah read the somber tidings, the once mighty walls of Jerusalem, now shattered, spoke of a tragic narrative. The nation of Israel, once captive and exiled, had endured years of hardship, straying from the path of righteousness. The formidable King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon had orchestrated their exile, capturing and deporting them 3 times, leaving behind a remnant in great affliction and reproach. Upon learning of the plight of his people, Nehemiah's heart echoed with their suffering. Though miles away in the luxurious Persian capital of Shushan, his connection to Jerusalem was unbroken. He couldn't sit in comfort while his city languished in ruins. With an empathetic heart, he wept and mourned for days, grappling with the question, how could he stay passive when his people suffered? In the solitude of his chamber, Nehemiah turned to prayer, a solace sought in moments of despair. He sought divine guidance and strength, pouring out his heart to the Almighty. Lord, he implored, grant me favor in the eyes of the king. Allow me to return to Jerusalem, my homeland, and contribute to rebuilding our beloved city. Nehemiah's role as the king's cupbearer carried a significance beyond the ceremonial tasting of wine. Entrusted with safeguarding the king's life, he held a pivotal position in the royal court. This duty demanded unyielding trustworthiness and impeccable character. The cupbearer, an individual of unwavering integrity, served as the king's dedicated protector against potential poisoning, a responsibility with consequences as dire as potential assassination attempts. Yet, Nehemiah's concerns surpassed the immediate safety of the king. His heart resonated with the suffering of his people. As he sought divine intervention, he realized that his faith and leadership would be crucial in the challenging journey ahead. In the midst of his prayers, Nehemiah found the strength to navigate the complexities of his position. The cupbearer, often a confidant to the king, now faced a momentous decision. The narrative unfolded not only in the grandeur of the palace but also in the chambers of Nehemiah's heart, as he grappled with the call to action. In the majestic court of King Artaxerxes, Nehemiah, the keeper of secrets in the form of a cupbearer, bore a mantle of unparalleled trust and responsibility. The grandeur of his role extended beyond the ceremonial tasting of wines, transcending into the realm of safeguarding the very life of the monarch from potential threats. Nehemiah's days were woven with the delicate threads of vigilance, a commitment to ensuring the safety of the king, not just from the immediate perils of a poisoned chalice, but from the shadows of potential betrayal. The weight of this responsibility pressed upon Nehemiah's shoulders, defining his every action in the splendid court of Shushan. As Nehemiah contemplated the dire state of Jerusalem, the city of his ancestors, a profound dilemma surfaced. A sorrowful countenance enveloped him, a genuine reflection of the grief that echoed in his heart. The news from Jerusalem had etched lines of concern on his face, lines that spoke of a loyalty extending beyond the palace walls. In the intricately choreographed dance of courtly protocol, displaying sorrow was as forbidden as it was dangerous. The court of King Artaxerxes adhered to strict norms, where the king's presence was believed to alleviate any sorrows that dared linger. Yet Nehemiah, propelled by a loyalty that surpassed the bounds of tradition, chose to defy the unspoken rules. Approaching the king with a countenance heavy with genuine sorrow, Nehemiah entered uncharted territory. The risk of incurring the king's displeasure loomed large, for a breach of protocol in the royal court could carry consequences as weighty as the crown itself. However, Nehemiah's sincerity acted as a compass, guiding him through the perilous waters of courtly expectations. The king, perceptive in his majesty, noticed Nehemiah's departure from the expected demeanor. A question hung in the air, a question that would either seal Nehemiah's fate or open the gates to a significant turning point in history. Why is your face sad when you are not ill? The king's inquiry was more than a casual observation. It was an acknowledgement of Nehemiah's inner turmoil. In many royal courts, displaying sorrow was an act of defiance, a challenge to the very essence of majesty. The king's presence was considered so majestic that it was believed to dissipate any sadness. However, in acknowledging Nehemiah's sorrow, the king signaled a departure from the expected, a willingness to delve into matters of the heart. For Nehemiah, this moment carried the gravity of a pivotal juncture. His next words, uttered with a courage rooted in honesty, would shape the course of his destiny. Why should my countenance not be sad when the city where my ancestors rest lies in ruins, its gates burned down? Nehemiah's response was not just a proclamation of sorrow, but a plea for understanding, a plea that reverberated beyond the walls of the palace. The cupbearer's dilemma unfolded not only in the realm of courtly protocol, but in the very heart of loyalty and concern for a city in ruins. Nehemiah's authenticity in that moment laid the groundwork for a narrative that would echo through the corridors of history, a narrative that showcased the transformative power of honesty and loyalty. In the resplendent court of King Artaxerxes, the air hung heavy with a silent understanding. The king, ever perceptive to the subtleties within his realm, noticed the sorrow etched on Nehemiah's countenance. It was a departure from the usual demeanor of courtiers, a silent plea for acknowledgement in a world where displaying such emotions was strictly forbidden. The king, breaking with the conventional detachment expected in royal courts, leaned forward, his eyes reflecting a genuine concern. "Why is your face sad when you are not ill?" In those words, a door swung open, a door leading to a conversation that would shape the destiny of nations and reverberate through the corridors of history. Nehemiah, standing in the presence of royal majesty, faced a defining moment. The king's question was not a mere formality. It was an invitation to lay bare the burden that weighed on Nehemiah's heart. Breaking with tradition, the king, whose very presence demanded unwavering decorum, sought not only to acknowledge, but to understand Nehemiah's sadness. This pivotal moment marked a departure from the expected norms of the royal court. The king's inquiry was an acknowledgement of shared humanity, a recognition that even within the gilded walls of the palace, emotions held sway. It was a subtle rebellion against the stoic facade maintained in many royal courts, where the monarch's presence was believed to dissolve any sorrow that dared linger. Nehemiah, guided by months of fervent prayer, seized the opportunity presented by the king's inquiry. The time had come to unfurl the vision that had taken shape in the quiet moments of reflection and supplication. With a heart burdened for Jerusalem, the city of his ancestors, Nehemiah embarked on a narrative that would intertwine his destiny with the fate of a city in ruins. With measured words, Nehemiah shared the plight of Jerusalem, a city that once stood proud, but now lay in desolation. The broken walls and burned gates were not just physical remnants, but symbols of a community in disarray. Nehemiah's appeal went beyond personal grief. It was a call for action, a plea for restoration that echoed through the annals of time. The king, in an unexpected turn, listened not as a sovereign but as a fellow human. He sensed the gravity of Nehemiah's words, recognizing a shared responsibility for the well-being of the people. The question that hung in the air was no longer a mere inquiry into Nehemiah's emotional state. It became an invitation to collaborate in a venture of rebuilding and renewal. Emboldened by the king's openness, Nehemiah spoke with sincerity and conviction. "Why should my countenance not be sad when the city where my ancestors rest lies in ruins, its gates burned down?" His response, rooted in truth, bridged the gap between ruler and subject, transcending the usual dynamics of a royal audience. The king, moved by Nehemiah's earnest appeal, was now faced with a decision that would shape the destiny of Jerusalem. Nehemiah, having laid bare the vision that had consumed his prayers, made a request that hung in the air, waiting for a response that would set in motion a sequence of events destined to alter the course of history. In the unfolding conversation between cupbearer and king, the echoes of empathy and determination resonated, signaling the beginning of a collaborative journey toward the restoration of a city and the fulfillment of a vision born in the quiet chambers of prayer. With the king's inquiry hanging in the air, Nehemiah stood poised, ready to unfold a plan that had taken shape in the crucible of his heart during months of prayerful anticipation. The court, once silent, now hummed with expectancy, as Nehemiah began to outline a comprehensive strategy, weaving together threads of faith, determination, and practical foresight. Nehemiah's words, measured and purposeful, detailed a journey that transcended the confines of the royal court. "If it pleases the king," he began, "grant me safe passage to the city of Judah, where my ancestors rest." This request, seemingly simple, carried the weight of a profound vision, one that aimed to rebuild not only the walls of Jerusalem, but also the spirit of a beleaguered community. The king, a silent observer of Nehemiah's unfolding plan, nodded thoughtfully. Nehemiah, fortified by a deep well of faith, continued, "And if your servant has found favor in your sight, please allow me to rebuild the city." The words hung in the air, not merely as a request for permission, but as a plea for collaboration between monarch and subject, a partnership forged in the crucible of shared responsibility. But Nehemiah's vision extended beyond mere permission. It delved into the practicalities of implementation. "May I request letters to the governors granting me safe passage until I reach Judah?" he proposed. The inclusion of this element showcased Nehemiah's strategic foresight, acknowledging the challenges that might arise on the journey and the need for official support. The king, recognizing the meticulous planning behind Nehemiah's appeal, readily granted his request. The divine intervention guiding Nehemiah's mission was palpable in the swift approval. The king's endorsement became more than a royal decree. It transformed into a testament to a higher purpose at work, a purpose that had been woven into the fabric of Nehemiah's prayers. But the journey required more than just safe passage. It demanded materials for the monumental task of rebuilding. Nehemiah, with unwavering determination, presented his next request to the king. "May I also request letters to Asaph, the keeper of the king's forest, authorizing me to obtain timber for the construction of the gates and walls for the city, as well as a residence for myself?" This detailed ask unveiled Nehemiah's practical approach, leaving no room for ambiguity in the mission ahead. The king, impressed by the clarity of Nehemiah's vision, acceded to the additional requests. The stage was now set for a mission that reached beyond the boundaries of Shushan, a mission fueled by faith, supported by royal endorsement, and anchored in a meticulously crafted plan. As Nehemiah received the king's approval, a profound sense of purpose filled the court. The collaborative effort between the cupbearer and the monarch became a beacon of hope, signaling not just the rebuilding of physical walls but the rejuvenation of a community that had long endured affliction and reproach. With the comprehensive plan in hand, Nehemiah prepared to embark on a journey that would traverse the landscapes of faith, leadership, and determination. The mission to Jerusalem, once a distant dream, now stood on the cusp of reality, ready to unfold a chapter in history where the divine and the human intertwined in a symphony of restoration. As Nehemiah set foot in Jerusalem, the reality of the city's plight unfolded before him like a time-worn tapestry telling tales of a century-long struggle. The once majestic walls that had embraced the city in security were now nothing but remnants of a bygone era. The people, burdened by the weight of a history without fortifications, had grown accustomed to the vulnerability that lingered in the absence of protective walls. In the midst of this landscape of despair, Nehemiah, undeterred by the daunting reality, envisioned a different future. The echoes of his rallying cry reverberated through the narrow alleys and open squares, breathing life into the long-dormant hopes of a community resigned to its fate. "We will rebuild these walls and restore our city's glory," Nehemiah proclaimed, his words cutting through the heavy silence. The people, weary from years of living without the protective embrace of city walls, found a renewed sense of purpose. The vision of rebuilding, once thought impossible, kindled a flame of determination in their hearts. Finally, a leader had emerged, one who saw beyond the ruins and envisioned a city restored. Yet, as the first bricks were laid and the walls began to rise from the dust, shadows emerged from the periphery. Sanballat, Tobiah, and Geshem, neighboring leaders who had thrived in the absence of Jerusalem's strength, cast a long shadow over Nehemiah's endeavors. Their opposition, fueled by self-interest and a desire to maintain the status quo, aimed to undermine the burgeoning hope that Nehemiah had ignited. The challenges were many, and Nehemiah faced a formidable task. Sanballat, the Horonite, Tobiah, the Ammonite, and Geshem, the Arabian, saw the restoration of Jerusalem as a threat to their own influence. They were willing to go to great lengths to prevent the emergence of a fortified city that could challenge their dominion. Undeterred by the looming opposition, Nehemiah continued to lead with unwavering determination. Working tirelessly alongside the people, he became a symbol of resilience, his every action a testament to the power of faith and leadership. In one hand he held tools to rebuild, in the other he grasped weapons to fend off potential threats. The task was not just physical, but also a testament to the courage required to face those who sought to sabotage the restoration. Sanballat, Tobiah, and Geshem, despite being citizens of Jerusalem, refused to support the work of God. Their opposition felt like a betrayal, a disheartening realization for Nehemiah. Brothers in the city were not standing beside him. Instead, they became hurdles in the path of rebuilding. Opposition from within one's own community, he discovered, added an extra layer of complexity to an already arduous task. As the walls gradually rose, so did the intensity of the opposition. Sanballat, Tobiah, and Geshem employed different approaches to sabotage Nehemiah's efforts. Their tactics ranged from subtle manipulation to overt threats, testing Nehemiah's resolve and the commitment of the people. The journey of rebuilding became a dance between construction and conflict. Each step forward met with resistance from those who thrived in the city's weakness. Yet Nehemiah's determination remained unyielding. His vision extended beyond the physical walls. It encompassed the spiritual renewal and empowerment of a people who had long lived in the shadow of affliction. Despite the challenges and opposition, Nehemiah pressed on. The walls that had crumbled over a century were rebuilt in an astonishing 52 days, a testament to the power of faith and determination. With God's help, a seemingly insurmountable task had been accomplished. The people gathered at Watergate as Ezra the scribe read the law of Moses. This moment of spiritual renewal served as a testament to the transformative power of resilience and faith. Nehemiah's leadership had not only rebuilt physical walls but had also rekindled the spiritual flame within the hearts of the people. As the echoes of the rebuilding efforts faded and the city stood fortified once more, Nehemiah's leadership left a lasting legacy. The walls of Jerusalem, once symbols of vulnerability, now stood tall, a testament to the triumph over adversity. The divine intervention that guided Nehemiah's mission had left an indelible mark on the city, forging a narrative of restoration and resilience that would be recounted for generations to come. The completion of the walls marked not the conclusion, but the commencement of a new chapter in Nehemiah's leadership journey. The rejuvenation of Jerusalem extended beyond the physical reconstruction. It delved into the realm of spiritual renewal and enduring legacy. A pivotal moment unfolded at Watergate, where the community gathered for an event that would transcend the boundaries of time. The reading of the Law of Moses by Ezra the scribe. The air crackled with anticipation as the ancient scrolls were unfurled, revealing the sacred words that had guided generations. Ezra's voice, resonant with the weight of tradition, echoed through the gathered throng. The Law of Moses, a cornerstone of Israelite identity, unfolded like a tapestry, weaving together the threads of history, morality, and divine guidance. The words, though ancient, reverberated with a timeless relevance, stirring the hearts of those who listened. As the law was read, a transformation unfolded. The people, who had endured years of affliction and reproach, found solace in the words that spoke of God's covenant and the path to righteousness. The spiritual renewal was palpable, a collective awakening that transcended the physical structures of the city. Nehemiah, the orchestrator of this monumental task, stood among the people, witnessing not just the construction of walls, but the rebuilding of hearts and souls. The commitment to follow God's commandments became a shared resolve, a covenant forged in the crucible of adversity. In the aftermath of this spiritual revival, Nehemiah, a figure of unwavering determination, took a momentous step. He dedicated the city of Jerusalem to God, an act that etched his leadership in the annals of history. The dedication was not a mere ritual but a profound acknowledgement of divine guidance and a commitment to live in accordance with God's will. The legacy of Nehemiah, intricately woven with threads of faith, perseverance, and restoration, became a guiding light for generations to come. The walls of Jerusalem, once symbols of vulnerability, now stood as monuments to the triumph of resilience and the enduring impact of a leader's unwavering vision. Nehemiah's legacy extended beyond the physical city walls. It was a legacy of faith that had weathered the storms of opposition, a legacy of perseverance that had turned desolation into a city reborn, and a legacy of restoration that had breathed life into the spirit of a community. The story of Nehemiah, encapsulated in the narrative of rebuilding, dedication, and spiritual renewal, stood as a powerful testament to the enduring impact of faith and determination in overcoming adversity. The echoes of his leadership would resonate through the corridors of time, inspiring generations to face challenges with unwavering resolve, to rebuild not just physical structures, but the very essence of a community's spirit. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow over the fortified city of Jerusalem, Nehemiah's legacy stood tall, a beacon of hope in the face of adversity, a testament to the transformative power of faith, and a reminder that, with determination and divine guidance, even the mightiest walls can be rebuilt, and a people can be renewed. The inspiring journey of Nehemiah, marked by faith, leadership, and determination, serves as a timeless example for all who face challenges. In the face of seemingly insurmountable odds, Nehemiah's story teaches us that with faith, even the mightiest walls can be rebuilt, and a people can experience renewal. As we reflect on Nehemiah's transformative journey, let us draw inspiration from his unwavering commitment to rebuilding and restoring against all odds.